Hello everyone, my name is Hao Yi. I'm a partner consultant from Xero based in Hong Kong. My main duty is to work with bookkeepers and accountants in Hong Kong so that they can utilize Xero by providing advisory, trainings, also share with some tips and tricks with you guys so that you can run your firm in a more efficient way. Today, I'm going to talk about some new functionalities of Xero, and that allows you to generate auditor's financial statement just by one click of button. If you have any questions at all, just feel free to reach out to me, and we will be happy to answer your questions. So I'm sure that some of your firm provide one-stop service to your clients, including accounting, audit, and tax. So that sometimes we call it AAT. So I want you to think about how much time that you're spending every month transferring clients' data from accounting system, whatever it is, to the spreadsheet or Word to produce the financial statement at every financial year end. And if there's any update on the management account, and then you will have to go back to the spreadsheet or Word file to modify the financial statement. Imagine that you have hundreds of clients that require you to do the adjustment at the same time. And I believe that would be very painful and that will involve lots of manual work. So for us, that we have two main products that we offer. So the first one is called Xero HQ. Xero HQ is a practice management tool, and this platform is built exclusively for our partners. As long as you sign up for our partnership program, and this tool is free for you to use to run your firm. You can manage your client profile, track the job status, collect necessary data from your clients, manage your practice staff, and also to produce the financial statement. You can access the platform anywhere, anytime, so that no more relying on the spreadsheet and memory to run your firm. As I mentioned that you can produce financial statement in Xero, you can actually produce any type of the report that you like. In the screenshot that you can see, our team spent a couple of months of time to build a Hong Kong-centric financial statement report template, just like the profit tax computation, the audit list schedule, and also the financial statement itself in Xero HQ. So for the firm which doesn't have any proper program or system for producing those reports, that you may consider to adapt this template within your firm. So I will go through more details later on. So the second product that we have is this called Xero Blue. Xero Blue is where you and your client can manage the company financial data during the bookkeeping process. So it's got a very user-friendly interface, along with the features that can automate bank and transaction data like expenses received, and eventually that you can produce management account from. So this is on a company level. Let's say if you have 100 clients, and then you will be having 100 Xero Blue accounts, and then you can access all 100 Xero accounts under single login credential as an advisor. I'm sure that many of you might have heard of one of our greatest features of Xero is that we connect to the major banks in Hong Kong. That means all the bank transactions will be sitting in Xero automatically, just wait for you to reconcile. For this video, I won't be going into too much detail. And again, if you want to know more, please let us know, and then we can take this conversation separately. So now, you get an idea what are the differences between Xero HQ and Xero Blue. So our Xero HQ report templates works like this. You can build the template on Xero HQ, and if your clients are on Xero as well, That means that you can apply the practice level report template into each individual Xero account for your clients without having to save 100 Word files for the financial statements. So having that automation is just revamp the whole financial report process for your firm. All the bookkeeping data is sitting in Xero, backed by bank and transaction automation. As an advisor, that you can build your practice report template and apply it to all your customers. So I would say over 80% of the manual work will be eliminated, so that it becomes an automated and high integrity report. First off, I want to share a couple of essential concepts of how Xero report template works. The report template requires two elements. The first one is the report codes. Report codes are something most of us are familiar with. On Excel, if we want to do the report, we might need to use some of this cell and that cell, and then that comes up to the total numbers to you. Likewise, multiple accounts in the chart of account list can be mapped into a single report codes, and then the lump sum figure of all of them will be reported as an item in your report template. You can also map a single chart of account into a report code, where it will be reported as an item in your report template as well. Xero will remember the mapping from the chart of account to report code to report template for the future years, so that you don't really have to redo the mapping over and over again. For example, what you can see in the screen, so that you can see 3 expenses ledger, and then we can map it into the report code as EXP expenses, so that it appears in your financial statement templates. And then the next one will be salary. So for salary, this ledger, we would like it to be appear in the different portion in the reports, so that we can map this ledger into the report codes as exp.emp, and that stands for employment cost. So that on the right hand side, you can see there is another portion being generated in the report template. So in the following years, you might want to have a new account in your chart of account list. If you are doing that in Excel, you might have to find your formula, and then you might have to remap most of your accounts from scratch again. But in Xero, since it's already remember your previous mapping, so now you want to add the depreciation ledger in the chart of account list, you only need to do is just map the depreciation ledger to the depreciation expenses report codes. So we do have another report code, it's called exp.dep, and that stands for the report code for depreciation. And in which that we can put it into the relevant portion in our report template. And same as other previous mapping, Xero will remember this mapping for the future years. And the second important concept for using the report template are the report fields. The first of, the placeholder is for the items that appear many times repeatedly in the report. For example, like the name of the company, the financial year end date. Instead of manually typing it over and over again and check that you have replaced it throughout the document, you can actually create those placeholders in your Xero HQ report template where those items will need to be, and then Xero will help you to fill up and then appear into all the client's report in Xero. Stat text item wouldn't change throughout years. So using a field that allows us to replace all and make sure it is syncing up. For Hong Kong, most of the time, the most common scenario for the data that won't change a lot, just like the limited in a short term or in a full term. And the third one, practice field related to our accounting firm information, like the partner name and also with the name of the practice. The client field relates to the client's detail, just like the name of the directors, the nature of business, and also with the office address or register address. And then since that you have done the whole report template on Xero HQ, and then you will be able to have the full control of the staff assets so that you can prevent anyone who is not familiar with the report template will be able to mess with your report template that you build, so that it gives you all the full control that you have as an administrator in your practice, in your Xero HQ. So I will demonstrate how that works and hands-on to demonstrate to you or give you some example to you how to generate the financial statement directly from the report template in Xero. So now that you have your Xero account in place for your client, and here comes to the hands-on implementation. So if you go into the accounting chart of accounts, that you'll be able to see all these ledger imported by Xero by default. So what if your client that they have their own very own version of the chart of accounts, and also they have a couple of years of the historical balance that they want you to also import it in Xero. So in this video, I'm just going to show you the quickest way possible for you to import all the necessary data throughout using different tools provided by Xero. So the first thing that you will have to import is the chart of accounts. So of course, by the demonstration that I will show you, that will definitely affect for those part. And the other thing that I want you to double confirm before any import is to go into the settings, going into the conversion balance. You have to make sure that the conversion day is the very first day of you using Xero. So say for example, if I've got the 31st December 2012 ending balance, in that way that your conversion day will be the very first date of January 2013. So you just have to make sure this is correct, and then you can hit save. So now that you have confirmed the conversion date is correct, and then you can go into the macro file that provided by your partner consultant and your senior account manager. So this is the macro file that invented by the Hong Kong team. So there are a couple of things that you have to do. The first thing, in the column ABC, that you will have to copy and paste your client existing ledger list. Say for example, for the account code, account name, and description. So for description, this is optional for you to decide whether you want to put it or not. So you can see here it supports for multiple languages. So once that you have done the column ABC, and then move on to the column DEF. So what we really require you to do is just to determine the account type and also determine the nature of the ledger. So say for example, for this ledger 601 for DBS Hong Kong dollar saving account, so this is a bank register. So of course I'm just going to put it into the current asset. So if you click on, or if you click on this cell, and under the drop down list, you'll be able to see or decide whether you want to have this ledger to be sitting in the profit and loss or balance sheet. So this is very straightforward. So I'm just gonna move along. So once that you have decided the account ledger and also deal with the account type, and then moving on to the firm-wide name. So the firm-wide name is also quite important as well, because that you can actually decide the best nature possible related to this DBS ledger. So for this, I'm just going to click on the bank balance. And then this is very important for you to finish this too, because once that you have selected the type and also with the firm-wide name, in this macro file that they will automatically to assign the report code for you. The reason why it is very important for you to do the column D and E, because if you are also using the Xero HQ report template, and then this will be the key to map between your audited financial statement template in your Xero HQ and also mapping, connecting to the Xero Blue account, which is the account that you typically do your bookkeeping and management account for your clients. Yeah, so I'm just going to give you another example. Let's say for this inventory assets. Yeah, so you want to put it as a current asset, so this is correct. And also you don't want to put it in inventory. Let's say for example you want to do it like an unfinished good, so that you can just change the firm-wide name, and you can see here now, and it just automatically update the report code for me. So this is also quite straightforward. Okay, so we have done A, B, C, D, E, F. So that means that we have done all the ledgers. We have allocated the related ledger type for them. So going on next, that will be importing the balance. Yep, so all these fields here are for you to import your historical balance and also with the current year balance. So normally we will start off with the earliest year that we will using Xero to have contain those data. So the first year will be 2012, and then you can just type the year here and also start to type the related balance for each ledger. One thing that you have to be sure that all the debit side and credit side of this trial balance is balanced before you import into Xero. Yep, so that you have done all that, and then you can just going back to the top left corner and click on Generate Conversion COA. So just give it a little bit of time. Okay, so a system message just pop up and say that the import file were created. So we can go back to the location of the folder. Let me see where it is. There we go. Okay, so right now the time is 24 past 12, and then you can see that in this folder it just created 3 files for me just on 1 minute ago. So the first thing that will be my chart of accounts. So if you are using Xero on a daily basis, so I'm sure that this format will be very familiar to you. So you can see all the codes, all the report code, name, type, description, and also with the balance for the earliest year that you would like to put into Xero. They're all already here. So let's just verify that. So the first one is the DBS Hong Kong dollars current account. So the balance is 396,593. So we go back and try to have a look. Yep, and this is correct. So you can just directly just import it into the chart of accounts. So you go back into the chart of accounts, click on import, and then you just hit the file contain the opening balance, and then you click on yes, and then you can choose the conversion date. Because I have set it correctly previously, so just leave it here, and then I can just select the file that I wish to import. So it should be this one, and then to upload it. So you can see here, and all the historical or all the default ledger has been archived, and that in other ways that the new 73 new accounts and also couple of accounts were updated or imported. And you can see here the balance as a 31st of December 2012, and the debit side and credit side are both balanced, so that there will be no adjustment. So I can hit on confirm. So now you can see in the chart of accounts, the old default template has been replaced by the chart of account list that I have just imported. So that is very quick for that. And the next thing is to import the historical balance. So you can go into the conversion toolbox, Xero. You can just log in. Oh. Okay. This, if you have attended any of our conversion training, that this is also be familiar to you. So this is a toolbox that we can assist our partner to able to convert their clients' data as in a very quick way. So once that you log into your conversion toolbox, and you can just quickly just selecting the Xero account that you want to integrate with this conversion toolbox and allow access, and then you can just start to convert the data. So in here that you can just click on the import historical balance. So I'm just going to show you another two files what it looks like. So these two, it has the balance for 2013 throughout to 2017, and the other file would be 2018-19. So for these three, because this is not valid, so I just delete it. The reason why that the macro file will be splitting into two files, because for each batch, if you would like to import your historical balance, for each batch, that maximum that you can import up to 5 years historical balance. So that's why that now that you have 7 years of the conversion balance that you want to input, so that's why that the macro file just automatically split the file up for you, so that you don't have to do it yourself. Okay, right, so you can just click on the first one and then just upload it. You can click on yearly balance. You can see here, because it reads your CSV file, so that likely most of the ledger or most of the field are already mapped. So you can just double check it once it's okay, and then you can just hit on next step. There we go. So 5 years balance already imported. So for the sake of time, I won't be importing the rest of the 2 years data. So just to quickly show you what it looks like in reports. Okay, so if you also use the Xero HQ report template, and then you can actually go into Xero Blue and go under the report center. And then the report center, if you go into the advisor, you'll be able to see all this report template that is sitting in your Xero HQ, also be able to apply for this company level Xero accounts. So for this, I'm just going to show you what it looks like in result first, and then after that I can show you how to customize or how to modify your template, your master template in Xero HQ. So the first thing I'm just going to show you for the SME report. So all this director report, or along with other report that include in this financial statement, it is all already done. All the wordings we're just creating or to enrich the content based on the instruction of Hong Kong ICPA. Okay, so that basically you just need to export it into PDF, and then boom, your management account, you can easily convert that into the data that you need when you are producing the financial statement. Okay, so but first I would like to show you for the detailed statement of profit and loss. Perhaps right now that I don't have the updated balances in here, so that I can actually change it into 2012 to 2014, so that you can see what's out there. Oh, sorry, perhaps it's better doing this way. There we go. Yeah, so all this information from 2013 to 14, it is already here, and it is based on the account transaction that you have done on the Xero Blue on a company level when you're doing the management account. And the reason why that it is like grouped together, it's because that when you were doing the COA import, and then you also have done the report code mapping, so that it will just like show in the different portion in the report that you would like it to show. And then one thing we'd like to really specify, because in the salary and allowance, so you can see that in here, this is for this amount of number. So if you're also using another apps like Tenornox, Workstamp, so when you were calculating those salary in those payment platform, and then the payment platform will just the HR platform will just automatically generate the account transaction or accounting entry for you in the Xero account. So this number should be tied with the IR56 boy form that generated from your HR system that connected with Xero. So this is like one thing for the automation of the data. So the second report I want to show you is the profit tax computation. So if we are going back into the advisor section, you can see here Hong Kong profit tax computation. So basically, this is the structure of the whole tax com that we have already built it in for you. And I want to show you what it looks like, or the backbone skeleton of this tax com. So if we are going back into the Xero HQ, try to go into the edit layout so that I can show you our mechanism from behind. So you can see here, this is the profit loss for the year end, and then you can click on the drop down list. That will be the different groups of the report code. So basically this is another example where the report code is just really, functioning well in the report template. And after that, that will be the plus or less for the the depreciation, and also less with the commercial building allowance, etc. The reason why we put the depreciation here as a add, because the depreciation is not tax deductible, okay? And the less for the commercial building allowance, industrial building allowance, depreciation allowance, so for those, they are actually deductible for the profit tax, so that we just put the less in here. And once that you have all those data for the depreciation, once that you have the figures for the commercial building allowance, and then you can see here we have default, we have set up a accessible profit formula for you in this field. So that means if you click onto that, you can see the format already preset. So that will be profit or loss for the year plus add for this section and minus less for this section. So that will be how the Xero HQ report template for this report, how to calculate your profit tax accessible profit. So going on to the second part of the tax count, and that will be showing you different tax tier rate. And then let's say like for 8.25% for the first tier type, first tier rate, and then the second tier rate will be 16.5%. And you can see the icon F in here. That will be something that we have preset for you. So you can see we have used like if formula. So if the accessible profit or loss is less than 2 million, and then the tax rate will be 8.25%, and then the next one is also the same. So basically this is how we set up the different formulas, different grouping for you to just automate all the data, and then to get the amount of the accessible profit to calculate the tax count in this report template. So now that we have seen it, how it works from the back end, and then we can go back for this part. Let me see if I can draw a earlier date so that you can see the figures. Let me see if I can just put it here. Okay, so for the 1st of January 2013 to 31st of December 2014, after I've changed the day range, and you can see some of the figures automatically just appear in the report template. So this is the profit or loss for the year, and also with the depreciation amount that already booked in the management account. So for the commercial building allowance, industrial building allowance, and also depreciation allowance, for those, because this is not booked in the account system, so what you really need to do is just using Excel. You can just use external Excel to calculate it yourself, and then you can punch in the information. You can punch in the data in here. So let's say if I'm just going to add like $5,000 for commercial building allowance, $6,000 for industrial building allowance, and then $3,000 for depreciation allowance. So once I punch in all this number for those allowance, and then the report template will just automatically count the subtotal of the allowance, and also that will be appearing or calculating the accessible profit or loss in here. So all this just by one click of a button, and they will be done. And then you can just export it as a PDF, and then you can see what it looks like here. See, all this here, it is already done for you. What you need to do is just, put your signature on it. And then you can click on the, on the drop down list for this report, and then you can see look to profit tax computation. So in here, that you can actually punch in your, brought forward your existing qualifying expenditure for the commercial allowance. So you can punch in the numbers here, and then the report template will just automatically calculate the carry forward CBA amount for you, so that you can put it back into the profit tax count. But for now, for the sake of time, I'm just gonna punch it in the number here. Yeah, so that's basically how that works for the profit tax count. So you can see the format is very neat. And the other important report I want to show you is the section A to C, which is the audit planning. So you can go back to reports, advisor. You can just go to the section A to C. So section A to C, like the audit planning is a very long or very comprehensive document, so I'm just not showing all to you today. And then, but something that I would like to show you, let's say for the prelim analytical report. So again, I'm just going to change the day range to show you the data. Okay, so this is the once that I have updated the day range, and we showed all the related figures according to the management account or the transaction that was done in Xero. So this is for the analytical review for detailed statement of the profit and loss. So you can see all is here. Again, you can just export it into Excel or PDF as you wish. We have added notes here, we have added the signature field here, so that you can anytime keep your audit trail here. So let's go on to see another thing. Let's say like the C7.1 is the materiality calculation. Yeah, so basically what you need to do is just punch in the figures here, and then the Xero template will just automatically calculate the materiality for you. Yeah, so well, for this report template, it is not 100% automated, but at least that will save you a lot of time. So from the having to manually to work on the report template, and then on the Excel or also on the Word file, because that you can just automatically or directly just export it all the financial statement out of Xero just by one click of a button. And then you don't have to transfer the management account data into the report template data, because all the data is shared and all the data is on the same platform in Xero. So that will be really helping you a lot when it comes to the financial year end day, and then you have to prepare the financial statement for your clients, and that will save your time. If you would like to know more details, just feel free to let me know, or you can approach to your account manager to know more details. We definitely have a lot of different attractive promotion, so definitely reach out to us to get to know more details.